What a lowlife. Netizens are fuming after an online video captured a jogger throwing out a homeless person's belongings in Oakland. The incident occurred near Lake Merritt, close to where the now infamous barbecue Becky called the cops on two men for barbecuing while black. On Friday, 30-year-old Henry Sinte was so offended by a homeless man's things that he paused during a run and started dismantling the makeshift encampment. Bystanders confronted Sinte as he tossed stuff into the lake and a nearby garbage can. When asked to stop, he fired back that he was simply taking out the trash. After video of his douchebaggery blew up online, Sinte, now dubbed Jogger Joe, returned the next day to pull stuff out of the lake. While being asked questions by a community organizer, Jogger Joe attacked the man and stole his phone, not realizing it was live streaming the whole thing. Sinte has since been nabbed by Oakland PD and is facing a felony charge of second-degree robbery. Supporters have also come together to help Drew, the homeless man whose belongings Sinte trashed. They gave him new blankets and clothes over the weekend and put up a GoFundMe page that has now amassed over $10,000 US. Good on ya, Oakland. People need to stop being scumbags.
White woman wants white doctor at Canadian clinic. An angry white lady was caught on video at a Toronto area walk-in clinic on June 18th, ranting that she needed a white doctor to see her son, who was experiencing chest pains. When the clinic staff told the unidentified mother that there wouldn't be any white doctors available until later in the afternoon, the mama exploded in a white ball of rage. Multiple patients in the waiting room told her to take her son into the hospital examination area, but she refused. The woman then described a physician whom she'd seen earlier as having brown teeth and saying he didn't speak perfect English. With her son still waiting to be examined for chest pains, remember, the woman was heard screeching, "Oh my God, what type of horrible country do I live in?" She then backed down a little bit and demanded to see a doctor who was at least actually born in Canada, before asserting to those who were objecting to her rants that they were attacking her for being white. She also told folks to step away from her personal bubble. Local authorities investigated, but no charges were filed. And you'll be glad to hear the woman's son was eventually examined by a physician. Whether that doctor was white or not, we don't know. And frankly, we don't give a bleep. Sacre bleu! Someone needs anger management classes. A French airport worker took horrendous customer service to a whole new level when he popped a passenger in the face. Never mind that the man was holding a baby. Air travel is stressful enough as it is, but the passengers of EasyJet Flight 2122 hit the nightmare jackpot when their flight from Nice to London was delayed by more than 14 hours. It was especially frustrating for parents, whose little humans needed food and rest, two things the airport just couldn't provide. Frustrated at the lack of information and provisions, the travelers complained to airport staff, who added insult to injury by smirking and doing nothing. A passenger holding his 9-month-old baby tried to snap a photo of one douchebag staff member, but his phone was swiftly slapped out of his hand. When the man shoved the airport worker back in retaliation, the employee lunged forward and socked him in the face. A photo of the punch soon went viral after it was posted on Twitter by an eyewitness. Both men were taken away by airport security. The passenger eventually made it on his flight, where he was applauded by his fellow travelers. EasyJet was quick to do damage control by claiming the assailant wasn't on their payroll, but was employed by the airport's special assistance provider. Still, the airline failed miserably in handling the delay and should be held accountable, right? And as for the violent employee, he's since been suspended and is clearly in the wrong industry. Smirkin' Pharma bro Martin Shkreli takes the fifth. He's one of America's most hated men. The former Big Pharma executive accused of having contempt for the sick. A smug and ruthless wolf of Wall Street whose price gouging strategies would make a Super Bowl ticket scalper blush. Not that we condone violence, but he's a man with a face more punchable than anyone on the planet. And he's usually got so much to say for himself.
So you see how greedy this move looks.
Yeah, I could see how it looks greedy, but I think there's a lot of altruistic properties to it.
But Martin Shkreli was strangely silent yesterday as the former Turing Pharmaceuticals CEO appeared before a congressional hearing. The smirking pharma bro invoked the fifth, declining to answer any questions from the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. The 32-year-old instead struggled to hide his contempt for the proceedings as the panel ripped him a new one.
On the advice of counsel, I invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination and respectfully decline to answer your question.
5 times in all, the sneering Skrelly invoked his constitutional right not to incriminate himself.
I plead the Fifth.
Skrelly stepped down from touring and was fired by another big pharma company after he was arrested in December on securities charges. His former company bought the life-saving drug Daraprim and jacked up the price more than 5,000% to $750 a pill. But unusually for him, he refused to talk about it yesterday. Even a question about his $2 million purchase of the sole copy of the Wu-Tang Clan's latest album went unanswered. Skrelly tweeted afterwards that the panel were imbeciles and that it was hard to accept they represented the government, which is pretty rich coming from someone who doesn't even know which vehicle he's supposed to be getting in. Skrelly has pleaded not guilty to fraud charges, which are unrelated to the sale of Daraprim.
Kanye says slavery was a choice and gets schooled. Kanye may be one of the best producers of all time, but he's definitely one of the stupidest humans to have ever walked this earth. Kanye West stopped by TMZ on Tuesday and gave the world a peek into the mind of a moron. While ranting about all types of nonsense, he blurted out this gem. You hear about slavery for 400 years. For 400 years? That sounds like a choice. TMZ reporter Van Lathan then called Kanye out on camera and then proceeded to drop some serious knowledge on Mr. Kardashian. Lathan stood up and said, "I think what you're doing right now is actually the absence of thought. While you're making music and being an artist and living the life that you've earned by being a genius, the rest of us in society have to deal with these threats to our lives. We have to deal with the marginalization that has come from the 400 years of slavery that you said for our people was a choice." Mr. Kim Kardashian then ran over to apologize and say sorry to Lathan for disappointing him. But honestly, what do you expect from someone that once said, "I am a proud non-reader of books"? White student calls cops on napping black Yale student. If you're even sleeping while black these days, you best be on your toes. A black Yale grad student who was taking a nap actually had to deal with a fellow white student calling the cops on her. According to Lalad Sambola, she was working on a paper in the Hall of Graduate Studies when she fell asleep in a common room. That's when another female student came in, turned on the lights, and was actually annoying enough to say, "You're not supposed to be sleeping in here. I'm going to call the police." Sambola pulled out her phone and posted 2 videos to Facebook, one with the douchey woman and the other with a popo when they arrived. When the police showed, one of the officers told Sambola, "She called us and said there's somebody who appeared they weren't where they were supposed to be." So basically, this white lady didn't think a black woman could be an actual student at Yale and was lame enough to harass Sambola and bother the cops. And now she's been immortalized on the internet. Should she even be at Yale? Roseanne blames rant on Ambien, but Ambien disagrees. Roseanne Barr is reeling from her not-so-nice Twitter tirade telling her fans, "I'm not a racist, just an idiot who made a bad joke." Barr lost her hit show on ABC after firing off a tweet about former Obama aide Valerie Jarrett, where she compared Jarrett to Planet of the Apes and the Muslim Brotherhood on Tuesday morning. After stumbling through multiple apologies over the Twitter sphere, she actually blamed Ambien for the outburst. Roseanne tweeted, "Guys, I did something unforgivable, so do not defend me. It was 2 in the morning and I was Ambien tweeting. It was Memorial Day too." Barr brought Ambien back into the mix in a later excuse when she tweeted, "Not giving excuses for what I did," tweeted, "but I've done weird stuff while on Ambien." According to CNN, Sanofi, the maker of Ambien, clapped back in a statement saying, "While all pharmaceutical treatments have side effects, racism is not a known side effect of any Sanofi medication." Some actual side effects of Ambien are sleepwalking, driving while asleep, and eating the contents of the fridge. Too bad racism isn't really a side effect of Ambien. Watching Tiki Torch types inhale them like candy would be entertaining.